Okay. Um, so we're doing some stuff with circles today. Before I jump into this, I want to see if you guys remember, if I have like, let's say 80 degrees over here, 60 degrees over here, you guys remember how we found angle X?
Oh,
Close.
divide that by.
Okay.
No, wait.
Try when you start paying attention.
They be the same?
X minus.
You do 80 plus 60 divided by 2 to find this angle X right here. But we're not really doing the angles thing today. That was an old chapter. What we are doing, actually let me use different letters. W, X, Y, Z. So we're doing line segments, not angles. So there's a relationship between these segments, and it's because these triangles are similar, but it's, if I draw in the triangle, W times X equals Y times Z. You guys got it? W times X equals Y times Z. So let's get those guys out of here. So, for example,
Opposing line segments.
let's say this is like, I don't know, 8 and 5 and 10 and X. How could I solve that for X?
8 times 5 divided by 10.
8 times 5 equals 10 times X. That's
So,
it.
X equals 4.
Yeah, for some reason on this assignment, there's like 5 answers that are 4.
What 4?
That's just true.
Mr. Jordan, do we have testing next week?
What
I don't
kind
know
of
what-
testing?
Actually, I don't know what week testing is.
Wait, do we have to take those?
We have
Yes,
Terra, isn't it Terra Nova?
that's for
The one where you-
certain
the one
days
with
to
circles?
Terra Nova.
It doesn't like.
No, we did Terra Nova last year.
Oh, is it only every other year?
Yeah.
Just
Thank
say-
you.
Just see how you're doing.
No, it's Terra Nova's every
Mr.
year.
Jordan?
Right.
I'll make it a joke.
Oh, it's Terra
Okay,
Nova. Grades, but
we're also doing,
that's a good circle.
if you like to read, I think you'll like that testing week. Because that's funny.
Horrible.
You don't like to read.
We were a hot.
Mr. Jordan, are we
Yeah, there
gonna
was
cover
no
what's
air
on the
conditioning.
desk?
It's
Oh, yeah.
I drew the wrong picture.
That's
Whoa.
so
Mr.
sleepy.
Jordan,
Oh.
are we gonna cover what's on the desk?
No,
What types are you talking about?
standardized.
Oh, okay.
Why is that not working? I don't know.
3 years.
It's an okay circle.
Alright. It's okay. I don't want to do that.
We have to.
We also did some stuff with angles on these arcs. You remember this?
100.
How do we find angle X?
100 minus 60.
100 minus 60 divided by 2. What? Yeah, that's what we do. Okay, but we're not doing angles. That was an old chapter. What we're doing is the line segments. So let's use W, X, Y, and Z again. Okay, here's how it goes. You do the outside times the whole thing equals the outside times the whole thing. So the outside, what do I mean by that? X. The outside times the whole thing. What do you think the whole thing would be?
W times X is
W plus X equals the outside times the whole thing. Okay, so it was the outside times the whole thing equals the outside times the whole thing. Alright. By the way, just a really quick note here, if one of your lines is tangent, what's the outside part? The entire thing. And what's the whole thing? The entire thing. So on a tangent line, if this is Wx, it would be x, the outside, times the whole thing, equals the outside times the whole thing.
So that just be
a squared, a times a. Outside a, whole thing
So, wait a minute.
a. Outside times the whole thing equals outside times the whole thing. If your line is tangent, the outside and the whole thing are both the same thing. Okay, let's do some examples. Or, yeah. I'm trying to remember, I thought of a good one earlier, I think of this. Yeah, oops, I'm supposed to leave an X. Pretend that never happened.
X marks the spot. We'll leave X
Actually,
Murder
change my mind again.
It's legal
Let's put an X right
now.
there.
It's legal if no one's.
Okay. So, outside times the whole thing. On the top, what's the outside?
Are you X?
Shh, okay. On the top, what's the outside?
3.
3. On the top, what's the whole thing?
3 plus
9 plus 3 or
12.
12. Okay, on the bottom, what's the outside?
4. 4 plus
Okay,
X.
what's the whole thing? X plus 4. And then you just do a little bit of algebra there. So 4x plus 16 equals 36. So if we subtract 16, we get 4x equals 20. So x is 5. Okay, let me show you the harder version. That was the easier kind. Let's do the harder kind. That's when the x is out here instead of in here. Okay, on the top, what's the outside and what's the whole thing?
3.
3 and 12, right? The same thing as before. On the bottom, what's the outside? What's the whole thing?
X plus 5. So it'd be X squared?
So it'd be x squared plus 5x
Yes.
equals 36. Do you guys remember how we solve, it's called a quadratic x squared equation?
Square root.
No.
Well, we're trying to get
Make 0 on one side.
Okay, no. You move, yes, you want 0 on one side. You want to get rid of everything on one side and put it on the other. So I'm going to subtract 36 away. This is, we did this in Algebra 1, like, probably about 11 months ago. So we get x squared plus 5, and then we either factored or used quadratic formula. The book will probably set up where you can factor. So here's how factoring worked. Do 2 parentheses, and you say, for 3-term factoring, what multiplies into negative 36 that can add up to 5? What goes into negative 36?
6 and 2.
No, 6 and 6.
6 and 6, sorry. 6 and 6.
What else goes in 36? Think of your times tables.
2 and 18.
2 and 18. What else?
3 and... Am I wrong? It's 12.
12 and 3. But they got to add up to 5, so keep thinking. You guys are missing the most obvious one, I'd say. 9 and 4. How do we get 1 and... To multiply to negative 36, you have to have one negative, right?
4.
Right. Positive 9 and negative 4. They multiply to this, and they add up to 5. Okay, we're almost done. What x values make either of these factors into a 0 would be a correct answer, because 0 times whatever is
Negative 9
0.
and positive.
So x could be negative 9 or positive 4. Okay, but remember we're talking about the length of a line segment, so the negative answer doesn't make sense. So it's 4, one of our many 4s for today. Got it? That was a hard version, but there is one of those on the lesson.
It's an odd, right?
No, it's even. Okay, number 1. Summarize the section's theorems by writing an equation relating to segment lengths. 1A. What's the relationship between ABCD there? AD equals BC is correct. A times D equals B times C. I'm warming up, folks. Time to get rid of the jacket. Oh, get serious.
Watch again.
He's heating up. So you got the answer to B?
Yeah.
Okay, what's the relationship on B?
W times W plus D equals U times U plus D.
That is correct. The outside times the whole thing equals the outside times the whole thing. C is the same thing. Outside times the whole thing. So what's the outside on the top? Y. What's the whole thing on the top? Y plus Z equals, what's the outside on the bottom? X. What's the whole thing on the bottom? X. So X times X is X squared. Oops. Number 3. So we got to set up and solve for Y here. So we're going to do outside times the whole thing, right? What's the outside on the top one? Number 3. 3. What's the whole thing on the top? 3 plus 5 or 8 equals, what's the outside on the bottom one? 4. And what's the whole thing on the bottom one? 4 y plus 4. Okay, so 3 times 8 is 24. I said 32 in the other class. That's funny. 4y plus 16. And then put your algebra skills to work there. 4y equals 8, therefore y is 2.
What would we do?
Huh?
Since there's only 3. Would you just use the
12 is the outside and the whole thing, so you do 12 times 12.
Okay.
Number 5. Oh no, we're skipping. I don't think those words are going to help us. We need pictures like number 7. We're skipping 5.
We're skipping 5.
Number 7. Same thing, they just didn't label they weren't polite like number 3. They did not label the picture for us. I guess you probably will want to draw a picture yourself when you do these, just to help you yourself out. MN is what we're looking for, so I'll put an X right there. LN is 8, that's this guy. My picture's not very accurate. LK is 10, that's this one. And LJ is 26. Now, if you look at the picture, LJ goes all the way across. Did you guys notice that?
Yeah.
So I'm going to put the 26 like right there.
You do 26 minus 10.
Or maybe right. I'll just put it right there. Huh?
It would be
You could do 26 minus 10 and it's fine.
Okay, you could do 26 minus 10 to find this, but we don't really need that, because remember we need the whole thing, not the inside.
So 10 times 20.
So anyway, on the top, what's the outside?
8.
What's the whole thing?
8 plus X.
X plus 8, 8 plus X. On the bottom, what's the outside?
10.
10, what's the whole thing?
26.
26. So we didn't really need to figure out the 6.
So 260.
8x plus 64. Whoa. No. Equals 260.
So subtract 64. 196.
196 divided by 8. Somebody plug that in the calculator.
24.5.
Okay, I know we're going really quick through the algebra. I think you guys pretty much get the algebra, so I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on it. What number was that? 7?
Was that not 6?
We're not doing the, yeah, we're not gonna do the units. 9, find yo. Okay, find yo. Yo is this guy down here, x, look at the picture. If ly is 6, that's this one. Yn is 4, that's this one. And my is 8, that's that one. Okay, how do we set these up? This is like the exact, is this the example I did at the beginning?
Oh, like x times
8x equals 4 times 6. 8 times x, kind of like cross multiplying, right? That's basically why these work. Because these are similar triangles here, so the ratios are equal, so you can cross multiply. Anyway, 8x equals 6 times 4. Uh, 8x equals 24, so x is 3. I guess that's my number 9 way over there. Made a mess back there.
No.
Directly into my elbow.
Good job. I think some of it got on the back of Marty's shirt.
Well, her hair is short.
That's true. It's all in your hair.
Her short.
Okay, number 11. Find yo again. We had so much fun. We're going to try that again. So much fun. I'll call it y this time. If ln is 18, I'm on wrong one. Ly is 8. That's this guy. And, yn is half of my. Okay, yn is this one right here. So, they're saying this guy is half as big as this guy. So if I call this one x, what could I call this one? Now, this is the small one right here. This is half as big as this. So if this is x, what's this?
X times 0.5.
Okay, x times 2.
Okay.
X over 2.
Yeah, maybe if I make my picture. No, it's locked.
squared.
X over 2.
If this is twice as big, it's 2 times as much.
Oh.
2x. Okay. Now, how do we set that up? We've got a kind of a problem here because we have 2 variables, but it'll still work out. How do we set this one up?
2x plus y equals
2x times y equals 8 times x. Now I'm trying to solve for y. How do I get y by itself?
I can subtract the 2x from
Nope.
the 8x.
Divide, because 2x is multiplied to y, right? So to get rid of it, to go backwards, we divide by 2x. So what is
Y
8x
equals 4x.
divided by 2x?
4.
No,
Just 4.
just 4. X divided by x is like 1. 1 times 8 divided by 2 is 4. That's kind of unusual. We don't usually have x's and y's. Divided by x on both sides, the x's go away. Alright. 13. Where are we at? Yeah, they're gonna make me draw a picture. 1, 2, look at my shoe. ED is what we're looking for. I'll call it X. AE is 20. AE is the whole thing, so I'll put the 20 kind of in the middle. CE is 5, so that's right there. EB is 25. EB is the whole thing, so I'll put the 25 kind of towards the middle. Alright, so outside times whole thing, right? What's the outside on the top? What's the whole thing? 20. On the bottom, what's the outside? What's the whole thing? Yeah, so this one's kind of easy actually, because they just give us the outside, or the whole thing, I mean. 5 times 20 is 100. How many quarters in a dollar? Oops. Okay, I wonder if I can just get rid of these numbers and reuse this picture here. Go away. Alright. Number 15. CE is what we're looking for. I'll put an X right there. BD is 18. That's this one. DE is 6. That's this one. And AE is 36. That's the whole thing up here. Alright, so on the top, what's the outside? What's the whole thing? 36. So we're going to do 36 times x equals, on the bottom, what's the outside? 6. What's the whole thing? 18 plus 6, which is? We already got the 6. Okay, what? Huh? Oh, you got the answer. So 6 times 24 divided by 36 is what, Trevor? 4. Past 3 have been 4. You guys remember I said there's a lot of 4s on this assignment? Actually, number 9 it was a 3, not a 4.
No, I meant that one included the past 2.
Yeah, but we've had 3, 4 answers, and there's a couple on the evens too.
I've never seen. Can we only go to 8?
Huh?
Can we only go to 8?
No. Number 17. Getting close. The end is near. Oh, good. This one took me forever to figure out what they were trying to describe. 17. In order to estimate the diameter of a circular Melbourne cricket ground, Mr. Arrowwood has his son stand 75 yards directly in front of the main entrance. Okay, so they should have made this clear because it confused me in the other, but he's standing out in front of the stadium, in front of the entrance, 75 yards away. So we'll say the main entrance down there at the bottom. Mr. Arrowwood moves to the farthest point beside the stadium on the outside, where he can still see his son, and he steps off the straight line distance to his son at 168 yards. So in other words, he goes as far as he can away without losing sight of his son. So maybe like right there or something. And that distance he walks it off is 168 yards. And what else does it say? Find the diameter. So if you draw the diameter right here, the diameter is just the line that goes through the circle. Then we have one of these problems. So call it X, I guess. Or maybe D for diameter. There we go. All better. Okay, you guys remember how we set these up? Outside times whole thing equals outside times whole thing. Okay, what's the let's start with this vertical line. What's the outside? What's the outside? 75. What's the whole thing? 75 plus D.
That equals 168.
Okay, what's the outside on this one? 168. What's the whole thing? 168. So I'll just say 168 squared What's the easiest way to solve that for D here? Well, you could do distributive property there, but probably would be easier just to start by dividing by 75 to get rid of that. And then we'd have 75 plus D, so you just need to subtract. So divide by 75 first, and then subtract 75. 168 squared divided by 75 minus 75.
Forgot this one answer. 301.32.
Okay, let's call it 301 yards.
The answer.
Yeah. About 301 yards.
So that's it, dividing and subtracting.
Okay, 19. This is in the B section, so guess what that means?
It's hard.
They're gonna try to trick us a little bit. Alright, it's not that bad though. We can do this. Find BE, so I'm gonna call BE X. I'll put an X in there. If BF is 2, 2 down there. BA is 1, put a 1 right there. And CD, C is in the center of the circle, is 5. Okay. You guys see what information we're missing here? I don't know how long it is from there to there. Okay, yeah. CD here is a radius. That's 5. So how long does it have to be all the way across here? 5. So how much does that leave from there to there? 4. So this segment from there to there is actually 5 plus 4, 9. Okay, you guys remember how we set these up? 2 times x equals 1 times 9. So 2 times x equals 9. 9 divided by 2 is 4.5, 4.5. Okay, which one?
I helped number 6 in setting it up. I tried to set it up and got 5.
6. Alright, so 6 is like the one we just did. DB is 6 and EB is 1. If DB is 6 and EB is 1, how long is DE? You need to know how long DE is.
5.
5. So you do 5 times 1 equals 2 times x.
5 times 1 equals what?
No problem.
Equals. Did you? Oh, in DE.
So x times x plus 5 equals 6 times 6. So you're gonna have to do the
Problem.
number of one side faster.
You just said, I don't know what it is. 5. You just said
5 times 1 equals 5.
5 times 1 equals what? What did you say again? 19. You said 5 times 1 equals what?
Well, look at the picture and figure it out.
I got 19.
Yeah.
It's not.
Angrily use the bathroom?
What's the problem?
Where are we? That's almost the first one.
I didn't give anything for this.
Oh, never mind, I thought you were on today's. Never mind, number 4. You probably figured out if you looked at it that much. AC or AD.
It's like a
Yeah.
Show right there, principal.
Number 2.
Cause I just got, I got 12. Let me try it. You can't lie to me.
Oh, I think I did. I might have.
You miss? Oh. What did I do?
Who threw it on the floor?
I threw it in the trash can.
I don't care where you threw it, it's on the floor.
Oh.
I got it.
Still stuck. You would have hope.
Okay. Do you have
Well, you can take it later.
I think state testing is like teacher how much the teacher.
There's no.
Well, it's for
Yeah,
this, I'm
it's
gonna
okay.
fail all of it on purpose.
What number are you on, 10?
8.
8?
What?
I think so. Good seeing you.
the joke room? Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
36.
Don't worry.
I
It
think
was 12.
a majority of the students fail, then there's a, okay, you need to be considered a teacher, but then if
I don't know what
it's
you're getting to.
So they're just like, man, I got.
I'm sure somebody else. You probably did it
I'm gonna
right.
start for Mr. Jordan. I have another question.
What did I
Did you take it?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Why?
Forget.
Six.
Oh, my hand is gone.
Is it
You
21
know,
over 14?
Oh, I didn't know.
On 6.
Oh, is that actually when you dress my person?
Yeah, I wasn't.
Well, it felt like it. Yeah,
Your answer should look like
I
this.
don't think I was.
yeah, I don't know.
Well, what did you get on 12?
Somebody said it's pretty.
I screwed myself.
Numbers are kind of the same. 6 is not right.
It's not crazy.
Number 2.
Okay, give me these ones.
Oh, there's no dashes or anything. Well, okay, over here,
Look at number 2. Look at number 2.
fractions, but which ones you just put what goes in the question?
Like, is it 2 and 6 or is it 3 and 9?
Number 2.
Yeah, 3 and 2 and 6 or is it 6 and...
Wait, oopsie, wait.
Your answer should be like 8, not 8 dash. No, that's all right.
What did you get on 6?
You told me the answer.
Do you have them on?
4.
Am I just answering?
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm checking our
Yeah,
answers.
okay. It says 80.
We're checking our answers to see if they're right.
No,
Good,
no,
they check it.
no. 80, look how I wrote it.
You know what I started doing? Be able to plug in with something for
6, you're gonna do something similar.
Next year you can read them all. How do you put it?
Okay, the outside times the whole thing equals the outside times the whole thing.
Yeah.
X times X plus 5.
Okay, thank
Hey,
you.
Gracie, your number
Wait,
8
you got one?
was wrong. Picture off, or- The outside is X, not 5. So it
I
should,
was wondering that.
so it should be X times X
So
plus
it's
5.
X squared.
Yeah, X squared plus 5X.
Did I do wrong? I figured it out.
Was it still equal to 36?
Yes.
Alright.
Do you need help?
Yes.
Wait, I.
Well, I know you know the answer, but I'm trying to figure out the problem.
I mean, wait.
Well, it's not gonna lie, he's not listening right
I
now.
found out how to do
He's not
it.
listening.
But
He's not listening to me. He's like,
X squared plus 5X.
anyone on this road, he just completely.
6 times 6. You gotta do it outside times the whole thing, which is 6 times 6. Outside is 6.
Trust me.
Wait, I don't know that.
Subtract the 36 to the left and factor it.
Go to the next one.
Oh, good.
To get his attention, just put it on a piece of paper and a line.
The rest is 3.
I used to be able to do it.
I can do it.
T is 3.
Don't, to get his attention always.
This is something
Dylan,
not
get his attention always. paper, plant fertilizer, and one.
Sounds like
That'd probably,
you're not being.
And I'm,
Did you get 4 on number 2?
Six right here.
I'm doing number 2 right now.
three times
That's
x
why you
plus 3 is 3x plus 9.
So smell, yeah.
I'm working on that.
You get 4 on this?
You know, it feels like you're always like, oh, don't do number 15, but you never do like even questions. Okay, I understand.
You ever, number 8, XW is 5, so that would be x times x, which would be 2x. So then would that be
No,
x
that's
minus
5 times x is x squared.
Who? You. Wait, what? You.
But that's not right.
So mad.
You're also.
The outside is the whole thing. So the outside times over. The outside is x, the whole thing is x plus 5. So
x squared.
Wait, what's that?
x times x plus 5, x plus 5 is equals the outside 6 times the whole thing 6.
The apple?
The owl.
Okay, guys, more work, less talk.
So x times x plus 5, when you put those jokes together, would that be x squared or 2x?
X squared.
Okay.
2x equals 2 times x. X times x is x squared.
And you said if it catches the outside, that is just squared.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Four. Okay, so you do the outside times the whole thing.
That's what
The
he was
outside
doing.
is
I feel like he'd be more concerned than I.
How did you get 2 first? Exactly.
Wait, what did you get? You get 3? You get 4?
But I'm not.
Divide
equal.
12.
Well, you could just work like some cat.
And then on this side.
Oh, Will!
So it's just
I'm
Well, but if you put some on when you.
I don't know why I'm talking about wearing cat ears.
My little buddy in 5th grade put some on him.
Oh, it is. Trevor, I just targeted.
What?
So.
You guys want to trade dates?
Well, you know, buddy, I have a lot of that one lying around. Trading around.
Don't make me cat call you over here.
You are.
12 is all things.
Do it. You're it.
No, what's the problem?
You shouldn't not be thinking.
My little buddy just struck some on me that he probably in 5th grade.
That's why you take it off.
I did.
Oh, yeah!
I took them off.
Trevor, I need to pull
12 x.
What you needed to do?
What, Will? What were you talking about?
He said something about.
He said I need to get you the bird.
I already know about that.
I didn't realize I don't know. I wanted to do it until you said, should I pray? David. You pissed it.
Whatever that is.
Can I have your body armor? Hey, Ty. Ty. Can I have your body armor? You're not gonna drink it.
You know, I'm just gonna check it.
Yeah, you're not drinking it. Why not?
It's gonna make it logical.
I'll drink it later.
I think I accidentally recorded like
Well, you get an A.